It was a cold, moonless Friday night. 29-year-old Harper Fields had just wrapped up a long and exhausting work week. She lived alone in a 2-story suburban house on the outskirts of Denver. The neighborhood was typically quiet, but tonight, the silence felt unnervingly heavy, as if the air itself was holding its breath. Her only companion was her black cat, Salem, curled up near the fireplace, oblivious to the creeping unease settling over the house. Pouring herself a glass of wine, Harper sank into her couch, trying to unwind. The flickering TV cast long shadows on the living room walls. A true crime documentary played in the background, but she was distracted by the storm outside. Rain began spattering against the windows, the sound steady and rhythmic, interrupted only by occasional low thunder. The room grew colder, enough to make Harper pull her blanket tighter around her shoulders. She glanced toward the thermostat, but before she could get up, the power flickered once, twice, and then went out entirely. The room plunged into darkness, leaving only the sound of rain and her shallow breathing. "Great," Harper muttered under her breath, grabbing her phone to use as a flashlight. The soft glow illuminated the living room as she carefully made her way toward the basement, where the circuit breaker was located. Each step down the wooden staircase creaked loudly. The air grew colder with every step, and the familiar musty scent of the basement filled her nostrils. Harper reached the breaker box, her fingers brushing against the cold metal. As she was about to flip the switch, she froze. A faint sound reached her ears. The shuffle of bare feet on the concrete floor behind her made her heart thud in her chest. She slowly turned, the beam of her phone light sweeping across the basement. "Hello?" she called out, her voice trembling despite her attempt to sound confident. The basement was empty. Only old furniture and boxes stared back at her from the shadows. Shaking her head, Harper forced a nervous laugh. "Get it together," she whispered to herself before flipping the breaker. The lights blinked back on, flooding the basement with a harsh, fluorescent glow. Relieved, she climbed back upstairs, determined to forget the strange noise and enjoy the rest of the evening. But as she settled back onto the couch, her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She picked it up, frowning at the unknown number displayed on the screen. The message was simple but chilling. "Did you hear it too?" Harper's blood ran cold. Her fingers hovered over the screen before she quickly typed a response. "Who is this?" Seconds turned into minutes, but no reply came. Unease prickled at the back of her neck. She blocked the number and set the phone down, telling herself it was just a prank, someone with the wrong number. She tried to refocus on the documentary, but then came a loud thud from upstairs. Harper froze, the sound jolting her like an electric shock. It wasn't the kind of noise a house settling would make. It was deliberate, heavy, like something had fallen, or someone was moving. Grabbing the fireplace poker, she crept toward the staircase, her heart pounding in her ears with each step. At the top, the hallway stretched out before her, dim and quiet. The first room she checked was her bedroom. Nothing. Then the bathroom. Empty. She reached the guest room at the end of the hall, and her breath caught in her throat. The window was wide open, rain blowing in and soaking the carpet. Harper distinctly remembered closing it earlier. Her grip tightened on the poker as she cautiously approached the window. She slammed it shut and locked it, her eyes darting around the room for any signs of an intruder. And then she heard it. A whisper, so faint she almost thought she imagined it. "Leave now." Harper spun around, her chest tight with fear. The hallway was empty, but the air felt charged, like something unseen was watching her. Back downstairs, She tried to shake off the growing sense of dread. Her phone buzzed again. Another message appeared from the same block number. "It's watching you." Her stomach churned. She deleted the message and set the phone down, but her hand was shaking. Before she could fully process the message, a low, deliberate creak echoed from the kitchen. Harper turned slowly, her breath hitching as she saw the basement door. It was wide open, swinging slightly as if someone had just passed through. Her first instinct was to run, but her legs felt rooted to the floor. She gripped the poker tightly, forcing herself to move toward the door. The stairs leading down were shrouded in darkness. The faint smell of something metallic wafted up to her. A voice drifted up from the basement, soft and taunting. "Come play with me, Harper." She stumbled back, nearly dropping the poker. "Who's there?" she shouted, her voice cracking. But there was no response, only silence. Harper slammed the basement door shut and locked it. Her breaths came in short, ragged gasps as she backed away. She needed to leave, to get out of the house, but something deep inside told her it wouldn't let her. The house suddenly felt alive, the walls closing in around her. The lights flickered violently, and shadows danced across the room, twisting into grotesque shapes. Harper ran to the front door, but as she grabbed the handle, it wouldn't budge. Behind her, the basement door creaked open again. This time, she didn't turn around. She didn't have to. The cold, whispering voice was right behind her. "You're mine now." The screen went dark and Harper's screams were swallowed by the storm outside. The house stood silent once more, waiting for its next visitor.